basket can just start to look bigger and bigger and bigger, knocking down shot after shot after shot. I think that we've seen so many 50-point performances, 70-point performances this season. Sometimes that gets diluted. It's hard to feel special. No, this is just how special was it? How did he get this?
For sure. He's a guy that scored 70 before because he's done it so many times. People think it's a regular day at the office. But we'll check out a couple players of how he got open. The pick and roll game for him this year has been great. He's in career high points per possession in pick and roll. Nurkic, key, this is a stack action. And because Grayson Allen's such a great shooter, they have to stay close to his body. He slips out. He's able to get a disadvantage with a switch. Nurkic setting that screen, a legal screen. I'll just say he sealed his man for Book to get an easy 2-point conversion at the rim to get him in rhythm. And right here, pick and roll once again. He's hitting on the ball a lot more. Bradley Beal's been out. No point guard coming off pick and roll. He's hot from 3. And once he's hot, it doesn't matter how good a defender is. He's going to knock down those shots.
I mean, you said it right there, no point guard, right? This is what we've said about the Suns all year long. And I think that when you have Devin Booker able to have games like this, when you have he can make up for the fact that they don't have that traditional point guard that sometimes Bradley Beal has the ball in his hands, sometimes Devin Booker does. They put the ball back in Book's hands. He has a game like that. He also had 9 assists, by the way. So he can do it all, but he shouldn't do it all, right? Like can he do it all? Yes. Should he? Probably not. And I think that's been a gaping hole for this team all year, is not having that traditional point guard. They had one of those. His name was Chris Paul.
Right, the point guard.
He's not just now the point guard. Golden State.
Right. So there's a couple of things that when we talk about the Phoenix Suns, especially at this time of year, that continuously come up. One, how they've handled the fourth quarter. They've been near the bottom of the league for the majority of the season in several categories in the fourth quarter. That's not what you want to see, particularly offensively. The other thing we look at is their strength of schedule at this time of year, because if you take a look at the Western Conference standings currently, everything is mumbled and jumbled right now because the Clippers, the Mavs, they're in the 4 and 5 spots. If we can pull that up, please, Director Kathy. There it is. The Pelicans, they are clinging to 6th. The Suns, they have the tiebreaker over New Orleans. 1 game against the Pelicans remaining on their schedule. So Phoenix controls their own destiny for 6. Although, who's that? Oh, yeah, that's the Lakers. That's the Kings coming in hot, Zach. So which team do you think is going to shoot that shot and will have 6th when it's all said and done?
First of all, that music is reserved for the Miami Heat. Okay, so that they get the Jaws. They get the Jaws music.
Coming in hot. Shoot that shot.
I'm sticking with New Orleans just because Phoenix's schedule down the stretch is like a cruel joke. I don't know what they did to anger the schedule makers. It's like unbelievable how hard their schedule is. And yeah, they're only 1 game back. They have the tiebreaker. They have a head-to-head game. New Orleans' schedule isn't angel food cake, but if you compare them, I mean, there is no comparison. Phoenix's schedule is just, no, it's overrated cake. It's just one heavyweight after another. So I will go New Orleans clings to 6th, maybe chases 5th, and the Suns, the unthinkable for the Suns, they have to go through the play-in tournament.
Oh, my gosh. I think the Suns are going to get there. I think that getting that tiebreaker last night was big for them because maybe they do finish in that tie, and I tend to believe they play better against better teams. Like, even though that schedule is brutal, but they play up to their competition, and they have this whole entire year.
But how much of a catastrophe would it be if the Phoenix Suns are not able to be that 6th seed and are a play-in tournament team? That is not what they were put together to do.
No, and this season has been a disappointment. And even with Book going off last night, you do have this lingering sense of they're still not adding up to something greater than the sum of their parts. And that's what they're going to have to do to beat elite teams over and over in the playoffs. But catastrophe, look, if they finish 7th, they'll have the edge to get out of the play-in tournament. And then after that, if you get in the playoffs, it all depends where Denver is seated, because I think they could beat any other team in a first-round series. I'm not sure I'll pick them, but Denver is a different animal. So if they avoid Denver, there's an avenue for them, unlikely as it may seem, to get somewhere.
It's funny. I talked to the owner of the Suns, Matt Ishbia, about they've gone way over the second apron, and their ideas. The second apron is here. We're just going to keep zooming.
It was a suggestion.
Not a rule. And I think they're going to keep doing that. They're not backing down from that strategy. Maybe they have to adjust, and the takeaway from this year is, okay, those guys have to be healthy. They haven't had nearly enough time together. But also, they need a real point guard. They really have missed Chris Paul this season.
Yeah, I mean, I like where they're at. Even though their schedule is tough, I think they make the jump. New Orleans, Brandon Ingram, I think hurts them a lot. And a lot of teams, it's a weird time of year, like you said before. There's people sitting out, people hurt, or resting. I think they have a chance to jump those spots and not have to be in the play-in.
Well, and being a play-in team isn't necessarily a death knell, right? We saw both the Lakers and the Miami Heat last season make deep runs, even though they were both play-in teams. And that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to see that again. There is well, I was going to say it's March. It's not. It's April now. Oh, my goodness. But there is still that sprinkling of Cinderella stories that came with both the Lakers and the Miami Heat. But, Danny, who in the West do you think can make a run this year?
I think most people will agree with me when I say the Los Angeles Lakers is the most dangerous team out of those four. They made a run last year. They have the same makeup, same kind of group, and LeBron James and Anthony Davis, when healthy, you can't bet against them. So I like their chances. If they get everybody back, they said Gabe Vincent might be available. I know the X factor with them defensively was Vanderbilt. So I don't know where he stands, but if they're healthy, I think this is the most dangerous team in the league, not just the West.
He came back and then was back on the injury report. He said he thinks that everybody would agree with him, Ramona.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sitting right next to you, and it's not just because we've known each other a long time. I agree with you that I think the Lakers are the most dangerous team in that plan. The Warriors have been playing a lot better, but nobody wants to see LeBron James and Anthony Davis in a 7-game series.
Well, Danny, Zach, and I all got the raspberry beret.
I know. I almost.
Okay, are you feeling the Lakers
note.
juju too? We're going to send it an email next time.
Are you guys nuts? The Lakers are the most dangerous of these teams. The Suns. Did you see what Devin Booker did last night? If the Suns are sticking in 7th, if you're asking me which of these 4 teams, the Kings are decimated by injuries. The Warriors and the Lakers have been up and down. Lakers trending the right way. Their offense trending the right way. The answer is the Suns, man. With KD and Devin Booker, it's the Suns.
You said, are you nuts?
I mean, look, the Suns have been the Suns all year long, and I think they have the big 3 that can do something in the playoffs if they get there. But the Lakers have Anthony Davis and LeBron James, who went to the Western Conference Finals last year.
Different conference, different top, different middle, different bottom. Everybody's better in the West this year.
This is a totally different conversation if Sacramento's healthy, though.
Yeah.
I like Sacramento with those other guys, but without Sacramento, I'm going with the Lakers.
The Malik Monk, Kevin Huerter double blow is really tough for them.
Really, really difficult for the Sacramento Kings. So arguably the biggest game, though, tonight is the Mavericks against the Warriors. That's in the Bay. The Mavs, they're the hottest team right now in the NBA, winning 11-12. They have vaulted themselves out of the play-in. They are in sole possession of 5th right now. The Warriors, they return home after going 4-1 on their 5-game road trip. They sit 2 games above the Rockets, who are chasing them for that last play-in spot. So speaking of the Mavericks and the Warriors, right, Luka and Kyrie, they have made a serious impression this season scoring-wise. The duo has combined for more points per game than any season of the Splash Brothers, which is pretty shocking. But what really matters, right, when you're talking about the Mavericks, it's the postseason, right? They've proven that they are one of the best teams since the trade deadline. But how far, Zach Lowe, do you think that Luka and Kyrie can carry this Dallas Mavericks team?
It all depends on the Denver avoidance scale and how long you can avoid Denver, who is the favorite in the West.
A meter for that.
Yeah, the Denver avoidance, the Jokic avoidance scale. But I think they could make the conference finals if they avoid Denver until then. I think they're that good. And to me, their defense has really picked up, and that's the biggest change of the team. Kyrie and Luka are unbelievable. Their chemistry is unbelievable. But the center play they're getting from Gafford and Lively over 48 minutes, there's the rim defense, number 1 after the trade deadline. I mean, they're like one combined super center. It's like 25 points, 12 rebounds, great rim defense, totally changes their team. Catching lobs from Luka. It's a great time being a Dallas Mavericks center.
I mean, and they've also gotten good perimeter defense back. And I think this is the formula they had when they went to the Western Conference Finals a couple years ago against these Warriors. But they didn't have Kyrie Irving back then. And they had Jalen Brunson, of course. But they had this team, I think, is all of a sudden sneaky dangerous in the Western Conference depending on their matchups because of how deep they are and because they're playing some defense now.
What is sneaky dangerous?
I think they match up with anybody. I mean, I wouldn't pick them in a series against Denver, but I think they could give them I think they can give them a series.
So other than Denver, if they are somehow able to avoid Denver, you think they could go to the Western Conference?
Yes. I mean, look, with the way they're playing right now, I mean, Luka just can close his eyes. I mean, he hit the shot off the backboard the other night.
I'm with you, too, on that. I think they have the potential to be wherever they want to be with Kyrie and Luka. But the pieces they've added after the deadline have definitely made a big jump for them. Rim protection and P.J. Washington stretching the floor a little bit. Just giving Luka and Kyrie more weapons around them to make them harder to guard.
I think the Jokic factor, the Denver factor is the same for many teams. You feel pretty good about even some of the younger teams, Oklahoma City, the Minnesota Timberwolves, unless they have to face Denver in the second round.
And this is a strange season. I don't remember the last time we had a 3-team race for the #1 seed that was this close. You're not going to be able to game the seeds like you had in the past.
It's something that I cannot wait to see, but I have some video that we all need to see before we head out for the day. No, this is not an This is Iowa moments ago taking photos. They have landed in Cleveland, but really they are already having a time. We're just shaking hands, kissing babies. Whose baby is that? Adorable.
UConn's coming.
Wanna try to boast at what I look like. Think I'm gonna try to wear I pull up long range. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. The city over here, feeling tough.